Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's video. How are you all doing? I hope everyone is doing well. I haven't uploaded a video in a little over a week. I took a very much needed mental break from life actually, and not just necessarily YouTube, but you know, I do have a full-time job, I have family, I have friends, and I just needed a little bit of a breather. I feel like I've been playing catch up ever since the wedding, and not having the wedding and not having that to plan for, my life just feels very different right now. So I'm kind of in a very weird place, if that makes sense. I have all these ideas and inspiration and things for YouTube, but then at the same time, it's like I've been feeling kind of uninspired and kind of having the blues a little bit. I'm just kind of in a weird place mentally. So please bear with me. I am trying my hardest to kind of get on a more normal upload schedule. My life needs some major organization, but that is a story for another time. Maybe if I could get ready with me or something like that. But let's get into what we are talking about today. I have in front of me the brand new palette from Alter Ego. This is the Daydream palette. If you are not familiar with Alter Ego, they are very similar to other dupe brands. So, you know, like Makeup Revolution, for example, they make a lot of palettes that are dupes for higher end eyeshadows, you know, highlighters, kind of all that stuff. Bad Habit, I don't think they exist anymore, but they were another brand that also did palettes like this. So Alter Ego is just picking up the pace. They're doing the same thing. This is the Daydream palette. It retails for $18. Their packaging is absolutely beautiful. I did a review on my channel of the Goddess palette that they just launched. That was a dupe from the Natasha Denona Gold palette, which was a very good palette. There were a couple things about it that I was like, it could be better, but nonetheless, for the price, I was overall impressed. They first launched the Temptress palette, which was a dupe for the ABH Sultry palette, and I think that the dupe palette has a better formula. I'm just gonna say that, but their packaging just feels very luxe, very spot on. This feels actually pretty heavy. It's got some weight to it. Their palettes are cruelty-free, and then obviously if you open up this palette, it has a beautiful mirror on the inside, and then you've got all the shades right here. So this is very, very much so clearly a dupe for the Huda Beauty Nude. I think it was called the Nude palette or Nude Luxe. I can't remember. That palette from Huda Beauty, that was her version of a nude palette. So you've got different finishes in here. You've got some matte finishes. We've got two pressed glitters right here. And then we've got these like pearlized shadows. So if you, as you can see, there's like these different crushed pearls. So these are supposed to be highly reflective and add a lot of dimension to the shades. This color story is right up my alley. I am a huge fan of just kind of dusty rose colors, mauves, pinks, purples. I mean, I love most shadows, to be honest, but I just kind of love these romantic collection of shades. So again, $18, and I believe there are 18 shades in this palette as well. Yes, you've got 18 shades, 17 because technically there is this conceal up here. So this is like a concealer or a shadow primer. You can make cut creases with that. As per usual, I'm going to zoom you guys in. We are going to create a look together. I don't know what I just did with my eyeshadow primer, but I did prep my eyes with some of my Angel Eyes primer, which I haven't used in a while, but it's one of my favorite eyeshadow primers. So I did slap some of that on the lids. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom you guys in, and let's go ahead and create a look with the Daydream palette. So I'm going to start off with my Sigma Diffused Crease Brush. This is the E38. I have no idea what kind of look I'm about to create, so let's just start with this shade right here, Glow. We're just going to lay down a base. Okay, so that one's got quite a bit of kick up to it. As you can see, it's pretty powdery and dusty. That's all right. I'm all about the performance. So I'm just gonna lay that down kind of all over the lid, bring that all the way up to the brow, just to kind of set down that primer and to just get a base going. Doesn't look like it's wasting any of the product by any means. Like, I don't see that it's like causing a dig in the pan. Sometimes kick up is iffy for me. I feel like I'm wasting product if there's too much kick up. Like it even, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I have this top part. You can just kind of see that there's a lot of shadow right there. But again, I don't see it's making any kind of depression in the pan or anything. I think I want to go for just like a very soft, romantic look. So I think I'm going to start off with the shade Bubbly right here. Some people like to lay down darker shades in their crease and then blend those out with lighter shades. Me personally, I like to start off lighter, give those darker shades something to blend into, and then kind of create those diffused looks that way. That's just what works for me. Both techniques are fine. That's just what I prefer. So I'm sticking with that same brush, and I'm just gently working that into the crease, window wiper motions, just to kind of define and carve everything out here and kind of set down the blueprint for the eye shape I'm going with here. So that was a very pretty shade. It blended out very nicely. It did build on itself quite nice. I did need to build it up, but that's fine. It is a very light shade, and to even have this type of pigmentation and any of this even showing up right now, I'm pretty impressed. So let's go ahead. Let's start to deepen things up a bit. I think I'm gonna go in with this shade up here, Sunset. So dip in very gently. Start with a light hand and kind of keep that on the outer part of the eye, kind of pressing it in right into the crease and bringing it right to the center and just blending. I like to do circular motions, fluffing it out just slightly here underneath my brow bone. I can feel the bone right there. That's kind of how I know where I want to lay my shadow. And then once I kind of work that, I'll bring it in towards the inner corner, but I want the majority of that pigment kind of laying right out here. Still using the same brush. You guys, I swear some days I could create an entire eyeshadow look using a single brush. All right, so now I'm gonna take an even smaller brush. I'm gonna take, this is my Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH40, and I think now I'm going to dip into this shade right here, Daybreak. I'm kind of sticking with the more warmer shades in the palette. These are all generally pretty warm, but I'm going for like something that has a little bit more of like a rosy, dusty, peachy undertone, if that makes any sense. So again, this shade right here, Daybreak. I'm gonna start by laying this down on the outer edge of the eye, just to kind of get things deepened up. And now that I'm taking a closer look here with the palette in the mirror, I don't see any kick up. I don't see any fallout underneath my eyes, which is perfect. I'm gonna kind of work that into the crease and then on the outer V of the eye, but I'm not kicking it too much out here. So this one I'm having a little bit of trouble with. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's like not wanting to grab right here in my crease. It's blending out nicely otherwise, but it's like I can't get it to like sit right in there. There we go. Now we're blending. So I'm gonna bring that up a little bit into the crease and fluff it out just a little bit to deepen things up and to really give it some more of that whoosh dimension. Yeah, to avoid that line, that like skipping that I'm talking about, you have to like really make sure your eye is not creasing at all, and to just kind of press that shadow in. Because it's blending, it's like it just didn't want to stick right there, but we're doing okay now that I do that. I think I'm going to build that color up even more, but I think I'm going to lay this shade Sugar Plum right on top of that. I'm going to really keep that right out here. I just really kind of want to deepen this up just a bit. Now I'm going to take whatever is left on the brush and just kind of slowly work that into the crease. Again, I'm still using the Jaclyn Hill JH40. All right, so things are looking very nice and blended and pigmented. So despite the shade Daybreak, I still think that it blends nice. It does take a little bit more work, but that's okay because I still think the colors look beautiful and everything is kind of meshing and blending together quite beautifully. So far we are good. Before I even get on to the inner part of the lid here, I'm just gonna go ahead and get that bottom lash line done. So I think I'm just gonna start off with this shade Sunset. Again, sticking with that JH40 brush, dip into Sunset, make sure I'm tapping off all that excess. And then I'm just gonna kind of drag that along the lower lash line. Now I'm going to go in with this flat brush here. This is Alamar Cosmetics. It doesn't have a name. And I'm going to dip back into that shade Sugar Plum. I'm going to press this right along the lower lash line. I'm just going to keep it very tight and press that there to create kind of like a liner. I like to do this because I feel like it just adds a little bit more to the lower lash line, gives it a little bit more of an ombre effect, and it helps kind of intensify your lower lashes, especially if you're someone who's not a huge fan of like black or dark liners like myself. And I'll go back in with the JH40 and just kind of re-blend everything out. So now I feel like the shape I need is here, lower lash line, everything's good to go. Now we need to figure out what we want to put all over the lid. I think I'm going to go in to start with this shade Dreamer, and then I think I might put a little bit of, what is this one, Star-Crossed, more in the inner corner. So let's start with that. I do want to try a brush first. I know usually with shimmers, I like my finger the best lately. I do need to get some of those silicone applicators. It works just like a finger, especially if you have nails. It's awesome. So I'm going to pick up some of that shade Dreamer. I like this shade of brush. This is the JH41 because it isn't so densely packed that things are just grazing on top of it. It actually is a little bit looser so that you're actually able to pick up the pigment and get it really into the brush. I'm going to spray this with a little bit of Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. I'm going to start off by putting that right here in the center part of the lid. Wow, that is gorgeous. Super foiled, majorly pigmented. So I'm going to kind of blend that into that outer corner, not dipping back again because I want it to kind of, you know, look like it's blending in effortlessly. I'm not going to bring that all the way to the inner part of the eye. I'm just going to kind of keep going over it until it looks kind of sufficiently blended out. Now let's dip into this shade right here, Star-Crossed. Love a good gold champagne-y shade. I'm just going to lay that right here in the inner part of the eye. Blend that right into that other shade that I laid down. That is really pretty. So these kind of foiled pearlized metallic shades right here, they just have a ton of dimension. I do think, once again, that the finger is going to be your best bet. I'm just going to take a little bit on my finger and just kind of blend these in. Sometimes I feel like a wet brush can lay things down too heavy and it can start to look a little bit crusty, if that makes any sense. So I'm just trying with my finger here instead, just to make this look a little bit more diffused and a little bit more intense. Yes, I would definitely use a finger with these. So in the inner corner, I think I'm gonna stick with that shade Star-Crossed. I'm gonna take my Sigma E47. I'm not gonna wet it this time. I'm gonna see what happens dry, and I'm just gonna pop that right in the inner corner. And it is working quite well dry on this brush. It's giving me the pop and the brightness in the inner corner that I need. It looks very beautiful. So I'm gonna put that along the brow bone as well. All right, you guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop on some mascara and then I will be right back with my final thoughts and the final look. All right, you guys, so there you have it. This is the final look using the Alter Ego Daydream palette. I think that this is absolutely beautiful, and I do have to say this one performs a bit better than the Goddess palette, which again was their dupe for the Natasha Denona Gold palette. These mattes are just extremely impressive in this palette. They blend beautifully. I didn't have any really trouble there. The darker shades, yes, I did have to work a little bit harder, but to me, that's not a deal breaker. I would still say overall that these performed absolutely beautifully. The metallics, again, are going to be best applied with your finger. I know that's kind of a given. 9 times out of 10, metallic shades just tend to just simply perform better when using your finger or a silicone applicator. I feel like when I got the brush damp, it was very intense, but it also made things look a little bit crusty, almost like there was too much product. And I think that because some of those pearlized shades in this palette aren't very tightly packed, that when you dip a brush in there and you kind of loosen up that formula, it's picking up a ton of product, and then getting it wet, it's almost just, it's too much. So I would definitely recommend, again, a finger or a silicone applicator for those metallic shades. But overall, you guys, for $18 and to get all of these shades, the packaging, all of that, this is beautiful. I mean, you guys saw it before your own eyes watching me apply it. It looks absolutely gorgeous. This is stunning. I think so far this is the best palette that they have released of the 3. Totally worth $18. This is not sponsored. I don't have an affiliation with Alter Ego in any way, shape, or form. They just send me their palettes. I don't have any requirement to even post a video. I just like sharing it with you guys. When I announced that I had got this on Instagram, I got tons of messages from you guys asking me if I was going to review this palette. So here we are, here it is. Definitely A+. I say give it a shot if you've been wanting the Huda Beauty Nude palette and you don't want to shell out the $65 or something that I think that palette costs. 18 bucks. Performs beautifully, looks gorgeous on the eyes, easy to use, easy to blend. And I think that with this type of color story too, the way that this is laid out, I think we've got a winner here. I would like to play with the glitter shades at some point. However, I'm not a glitter gal. I don't know what it is. I don't gravitate towards glitters. I do like the Stila Wanderlust, these glitter and glow shadows. I think that this is awesome because it's so easy. And I don't get glitter falling all over my face or into my lashes and all that. So I just like something a little bit more like this versus even pressed glitters or loose glitters. So that's my personal preference. Give this video a huge thumbs up if you liked it. Share it. Of course, be sure to subscribe to my channel before you go. Comment, what do you think? Did you pick up this palette? Are you more intrigued with Alter Ego now that you've seen some more reviews on this? I know I'm not the only person talking about this. I would love to hear from you guys. So yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one. Love you so much. Bye.